G'day guys, welcome back to All Will Fall. Hope you guys are doing well, and hope you're enjoying our look at the game so far. Going to do another episode, maybe about an hour or so, and we'll see how far we can get. I am really enjoying this game, and I hope you guys are enjoying this playthrough as well, although it is only just the demo. But where did we get up to in the previous episode? We've just had a bit of a celebration. We took a bit of a hit on our food supply. We, had, I think, 80 food consumed in that celebration. We did get a little bit of extra loyalty from every single faction, so that's a really good thing. We are trying to get more junk, so our junk production is quite low at the moment, and that's hopefully going to be resolved once we get these electronic junk catchers. But we are still researching that. I do have one free sailor here, so let's just pop him on the windmill over there. And hopefully we can generate a little bit more power. And yeah, the rain is coming in here, which means that we're going to have the water levels rise once more. So we're going to probably want to get some of our guys out of the more dangerous areas. This area here seems to be clear for now. I don't think the ocean is going to rise up to that level. But some of these other ones obviously are going to be a bit dangerous, a bit perilous for people to work on, so want to just keep an eye out on things there. It might also be a good idea at this point to start thinking about getting to the next major structure here on this side. Now this one is kind of an interesting one because we do have a elevator which should let people traverse up and down the floors a little bit easier. So hopefully there's going to be a lot of resources there that can help us sort of, survive a little bit longer before we get all of our food and water production up and running. Now it does look like both of our boats are now idle. We're going to have to see if there's anything else out here that we can gather. It doesn't look like it, but once the storm passes, I think we should be able to, let them loose once more. Alright, let's speed up the time and we'll just go double speed for now. And while things are progressing, we'll start thinking about how we're going to bridge the divide over here. So I'm thinking maybe we go across that way initially, and perhaps maybe we want to do something similar to what we did the last time when we were trying to get to the water tower. So something like that, and hopefully we can just get a pathway here. Brilliant. Yeah, I wouldn't really want to be the workers to have to cross this every single day, but the job has to be done. Has to be done by someone. And do I want to think about maybe speeding up the process of traversal in this area? It might not be a bad idea to do that. So we could perhaps get a staircase in here, since we've got a little bit of wood to work with, so that should speed up the process of people sort of gathering any of the resources in this area. Plus, once the resources are gathered, we should have a bit of space to work with for some production. So, anyway, let's continue on. Oh, actually, since we have a couple of... or we actually have a few free workers right now, so we should try and distribute these workers into some workplaces. Unfortunately, there's not really a lot going around at the moment. Okay, we've got an event here. A lost child. Tragedy. A parent says that their kid was playing near the water when a sudden wave swept him away. No one was close enough to save him in time. Oh, alright. Well, we don't have enough for a funeral. We don't have the water nor the food. So we would have gotten loyalty if we could expend those things, although we are sort of teetering on the edge here. This is kind of an interesting selection here because it doesn't actually have an outcome. And I think this is probably the best for us at the moment. I could throw the parent overboard and gain 40 influence that way, but I kind of need all of the workers that I can get. So yeah, let's choose this one. Okay, so the game is telling us that we can try to gain influence by building a watchtower. And the watchtower is actually an interesting building because it does, I would say, I don't know if this is exactly the way the mechanic works, but it might increase the number of events that we can come across, especially with like sailing traders and other groups that are, you know, sailing or floating by. So we should try and build a watchtower. We do actually have a commitment here to build it within 1 day and 22 hours. So we'll try to do that, although, you know, we're still in the middle of researching the junk collectors. So we'll try and get that to finish first because I think that's a bit more of a priority. Okay, so we've got more wood accessible over this way, so that's perfect. We'll get people working on that. And our boats, obviously we want them focusing on food right away, so let's get them to go to a couple of fishing spots. And yeah, judging by how things are going here, it might be pretty tight to get the watchtower. It is a bit unfortunate here that we're going to have to work on the watchtower next. I would have preferred maybe getting started on more research to get the desalinator, but we might have to put that off a little bit. But that's okay, we still have plenty of water supply here from the tower. So, and there should be some more water that we could uncover below the water. So hopefully we'll be able to access that very soon. So we still have quite a bit of workforce here that we could use, so I'm gonna see if we can extend some platforms out this way so we can grab a little bit more wood. Ooh, that's tempting right there, but that's a little further away. I don't think we're going to really be able to reach that. So we might have to leave that alone. Alright, our research is done. And because we've got this commitment to build the watchtower, let's actually get the watchtower researched immediately. So that should be under social, and we simply need 20 wood for this, so it should be very easy to do, but we will need to build it, and it will require 1 worker in it. And I believe you have to have a sailor, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, with the junk collectors now available, we are going to want to try and make at least 1, or maybe even 2, but the challenge for us at the moment is that we don't really have enough junk for this. So, I'm going to want to prioritize trying to find myself some junk. I'm hoping that the low tide is going to reveal some more junk for us, and we'll try and get to it. I'm eyeing this one right here, actually, because that should be pretty accessible. Alright, so some workplaces are now inaccessible for some of our workers. Let's get them off, and that's perfect timing because we will need to redistribute them anyway. Let's work our way to this junk pile. Yeah, so that should be accessible now. Let's get a couple of people on there, and we'll get a couple of people on this one over here as well. And it looks like there's even more junk down this way, so... Or actually, sorry, this is not junk, this is food, so... Yeah, that'd be good to try and grab, although... We are getting a bit of a net increase on our food at the moment, so that's actually a very good thing. Oh, and now we are introduced to a new problem. With the water having receded quite a bit more, there's apparently a bit of a structure down here which is creating a blockage for our wood collectors, or our, what are these called specifically? Wood catchers, that's it. So we want to try and improve on the clearance for this particular production facility. Let's try to add a little bit of structural strength out this way. And the idea is we want to be able to sort of push this building out a little bit more so that we can then, you know, give it the clearance that it needs. So hopefully that resolves the problem. Actually, might move it that way. And yeah, I think that has resolved the problem there. And yeah, so moving forward, that's actually going to be a bit of a challenge for us as the water recedes and rises. So we might have to fiddle around quite a bit with the placement of certain buildings. Got a little bit more junk over here, actually. That might have to be the priority for whenever we send workers out that way. And we do have some more steel. Now, we have been pretty lucky with getting steel early, and we are going to eventually need steel when we build the desalinator. I believe it might be about 20 or 40 steel, something along those lines. So having that early steel is quite nice. So our research is almost done for the Watchtower. So we're going to want to maybe start thinking about where that's going to go. I do like the idea of having the Watchtower being set up in quite a high position. It makes sense that it has visibility over everything surrounding it. So I'm thinking we want to try and build out this area to be able to hold a few structures, and we might try and build out a little bit sideways as well, just to give us a bit more surface area to work with. I'm gonna need to wait on wood, in fact. So anyway, while we're waiting on that, we should be able to get our production of junk going. So let's get one of these guys in, and looks like we've got clearance there, so let's get that in. And yes, our research is done, which is good. So, with the Watchtower research completed, I think we should shift gears back to water production, and we should try and get this water desalinator. So let's get to that. So this research actually needs the steel, but then I think constructing the building will also need steel. So good thing we've got that early steel, or early metal. Okay, a couple of workers in there, so let's throw them in, and yeah, just waiting on a bit of wood. We've got another 12 hours or so to work with before we fail that requirement. I've actually not seen what happens if we do fail that, but I assume nothing good is going to come out of it, so let's avoid it if we can. So this is looking pretty good. Perhaps maybe I do want to add some more supporting pillars and stuff when we get the chance, but let's try and see if a watchtower is buildable on this. I actually do need to wait for a little bit more wood for the watchtower. So more storms coming in, and obviously that means we do need to be a little bit careful, make sure that people are not working in any dangerous areas. So let's get people off of that junk pile, and I think they've completely salvaged that junk pile over there, which is good. Which means that we have a couple of people doing nothing. Perhaps maybe some of this wood and stuff will float up and we should be able to hopefully get them. But we shall see. Some of them are probably going to disappear anyway. Group leaders are fighting. Alright, well, we've got a few options here. We can side with the different factions. I don't really think that's a good idea. We want everyone to obviously be happy together. We'll choose the first option here. All will fall without unity. We do have to take a bit of a hit to our influence though, so that's a little bit rough. The next time we have a similar event that requires influence to resolve, we might actually have a bit of an issue trying to resolve it. So we're going to want to think about building our influence a little bit more. So let's see. Maybe to combat that we can add like another roof to these two houses when we get the chance, but I'm sort of hanging on for dear life here to try and get the watchtower built. In fact, what I might do is I might actually get rid of one of the supporting sections there, and instead we'll get the watchtower built immediately. And we do need to make sure that a worker is going to be able to get into the tower. We can always move the tower later after it's built anyway, and we'll get people to prioritize on building this tower. Try and get that task done. Alright, that's complete. We do need a sailor in there, so let's get that sailor in. And yeah, so this should generate a little bit of influence for us. But that's not the only source of influence. We should be able to get influence from our different factions as well, depending on their happiness levels. So let's see, we've got quite a few people idling at the moment. Not a great situation. However, I don't really think we have much of an option here. This could be a bit of a dangerous site, but I think maybe we can afford to get a couple of people still working on the junk and trying to collect that. And I say we might be able to fit one more electric junk collector if we sort of space things out right. So when we place down the woodcatcher, I was sort of thinking about just, you know, placing it on the corner there, and I think maybe that's a good idea. So we can do that, and then we can squeeze in another production facility right next to it. So yeah, okay, that doesn't look like it's gonna hold though, so I don't know if it's the best idea. Or we can rethink placing another one down, maybe down here. That's not a bad idea, because I don't think the ocean's going to ever come up further than where it is currently. So perhaps maybe we could get a production facility in, maybe there for 20 junk. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a bad idea, and then, you know, obviously that'll reduce the amount of idling people as well, and we'll have them working on trying to gather more junk. Maybe we don't need this after all. Okay, the storm has passed. I'm just keeping my eyes peeled for any resources that are going to appear. Obviously, fishing is still going to be the priority here. There we go, we've got a couple of fishing spots nearby already, so let's get our boats out there immediately. We do have a sailing trader, apparently. Wandering trader has come to our settlement. So there's a few options here depending on what we have. And I would essentially say that it's best to trade for things that you don't have, obviously, and you can trade some of the things that you have more abundance of. We could trade some junk for more wood. That's, I guess, one option. I don't really know if that's such a good idea because we don't really have a lot of junk at the moment. And we may end up needing to make, to use junk or make things with junk. So I might actually say that we don't need anything right now. There is even this option here, so if you had enough influence, you could just take everything from the trader, which is a little bit hostile, but anyway. I don't know if there are repercussions for certain decisions, like this one. I assume there might be because I have come across a few events that do have certain outcomes and repercussions depending on the decisions that you make. Right, let's get a couple of people in here to, start generating more junk. We do have a floating pile of wood down here. Let's get a couple of people on that, or actually we only have one more person. Hopefully we get some people coming in and trying to settle, because we do need more workers, I feel. Yeah, it's a constant balancing act here with, getting enough workers, but also getting enough resources to, obviously keep people happy and keep people living. Alright, the Watchtower has spotted something. A small raft has been spotted drifting nearby. It seems there are a couple of people still alive, but they are in horrible condition. So I guess we have enough to do the right thing here. So we'll try and save everyone. We will gain loyalty from everyone, and I believe 15 is the goal that we need to reach for at least one of the groups, and they're all going to be at 15, hopefully. So that's nice. Okay, we will need to house people, so again, needing to start thinking about housing. You can actually build on top of production facilities like this one, and this is probably a perfect opportunity for that. So I'll just build a house there. And yeah, as long as there's a bit of a corridor here for people to, access their home, then everything should be all right. We have obviously a couple more workers to spare. Just trying to find a place where we can get them to start working. Maybe we'll add one more here. And what is going on here? Oh, we do need to just add some pathways there. Yep. So they should be able to access their home. Right, I would say we might want to extend things out a little bit to utilize our last worker here. We are going to see another permanent decrease in the water level very shortly, so that should give us access to a lot more stuff. But I don't know how desperately we want to try and work on some of this stuff. We could, or if we just simply want to wait for the water levels to recede. Oh, we don't really have a lot of wood, do we? Alright, we're gonna have to wait anyway. So we collect some wood. There's this down here. Maybe that's a better one to try and work on. We're still going to need a little bit of wood though, but we'll try and get there. Okay, that is actually going to be a bit of a problem for our boats. Although I think our boats can still sail this way, so that shouldn't really be an issue. Just wait for more wood to come in. Unfortunately, that's not really going to hold. So, maybe we should really just wait. I know we have one idle person. One of your groups is now generating influence. Great. Alright, so this is going to be our main way to try and get additional influence, and hopefully we'll start seeing our influence meter trickle up a little bit more. So, I believe all 3 groups are giving us a little bit of influence here. This is actually a very dangerous place to work, isn't it? Let's get people out of there. Look, we are going to see a reduction in the sea level anyway, so perhaps maybe just a little bit of patience is in order here. And with the spare wood that I have now, thanks to cancelling our plans, maybe we should just add a little bit more here. Or I could get people across this way. I think I have what it takes now. So we'll just build a staircase here, small one. That should be accessible. But again, it's probably a bit too late now because the water level is going to recede. Yeah. Alright. All good. We might deconstruct this again later on if we need to. But now this should be accessible again. And a few other things should be accessible down here as well. So what do we need to prioritize? Water is dwindling a little bit. Now this is an interesting resource we haven't really been gathering before, but this is fuel. Now I haven't really used fuel very much in any of my playthroughs so far, and the reason for that is because, well, fuel is a polluter, and I would much prefer using some greener tech if we can get access to greener tech. But yeah, it doesn't seem like we can actually collect this with workers simply. I think we're going to have to collect it with boats, which means that we're going to have to research the ability to gather that resource. Right, so in terms of work areas, we've got a few places at this level here. We're going to need to make it a little bit more accessible though, so let's just add a few staircases and let's get people working on all of this stuff. Junk and wood production is actually looking pretty healthy, but I'll get one more person trying to gather some more wood. A leader's full potential. Increase happiness to 20 for at least one social group. No worries, we'll try to get there. And I'm hoping we'll have a bit of an injection of wood soon, so that we can start decorating a little bit more, getting some more roofs and stuff. And we might want to think about trying to get ourselves some more advanced decorations. Now we can see that our electricity production is now not looking as healthy as it was before. It's primarily because we have now introduced a couple of structures that do require electricity. Although when we do look at all of the junk catchers, they are looking pretty healthy in terms of output. So 4 out of 4. 4 out of 4 as well. They aren't getting 100% electricity though, but I think this is still pretty efficient. I probably would like to add one more windmill when we get the chance, but I don't think that's really our priority just yet. So we've got a little bit of wood. I could add some more, you know, platforms and stuff over here, or supporting structures, but I think I might leave that for a little bit later, and we should perhaps focus our efforts on getting people feeling a little happier. Okay, looking good. And yeah, we can see that happiness is climbing. There's a little bit of happiness sort of dwindling there, which is not great. Hopefully we can get to some better decorations and stuff like that to address that. Alright, so this pile of wood I don't think is really going to be going anywhere, and I'm sort of just having a look at whether or not there are other priorities, because we could always swing back to it. Do we want to gather a little bit more food at this point? It might not be a bad idea. Yeah, let's get one person at least working on some food over here. So let's get this engineer off of that wood pile, and we'll put him there instead. Now, how are we looking for steel here? We've got 20. We are probably going to want to think about getting some more steel or some more metal very soon. And we do have a pile down this way, which I think we should try to work on. I've just realized, but we still have all of these platforms and ladders out here, which, again, if we're wanting to be very efficient with the use of our materials, I shouldn't really keep those there. And I could have used that to resolve some of our problems while we're trying to get out here. But anyway, lessons learned. So with this additional wood, I think we should be able to work on this area here. Just add more structural strength. Now we do want to make sure that there's a gap there, obviously, so that people can still traverse through. And let's just add a little bit more to the sides here. Probably unnecessary at the moment, but we've got the wood, so that's fine. And I should hopefully be able to move the watchtower ever so slightly to this side. Can we even put it on the very, very corner? We can. It looks a little precarious, but I think it'll be fine there. I don't see any issues with it falling down. But we'll add a couple more blocks down below just for good measure. Okay, so it is the next morning already. We do have a couple of engineers here without a job. I think they've finished gathering from one of the piles. Gonna want to obviously refocus their efforts onto something. Let's just have a look. What is dwindling now? I guess our junk production is a little lower than our wood production. We could go with a little bit of extra junk, but I think maybe I'll put one of them on the food pile and then another one on some junk. So we don't really need that much junk. We've got plenty, and our storage is actually getting a little bit full. And sometimes storage can become a bit of an issue. I am eyeing on our research there, and our research should be completing any time now, and we will want to immediately get some desalinators set up. At least one for the time being. Okay, so research is done. Let's get into more decorations for our citizens, so we can hopefully increase their happiness even more. But yeah, the next problem is just addressing water. As you can see, that's probably the most worrisome thing for us at the moment. So looking at our water solutions, so we've got the desalinator, which is going to need 35 metal. We don't have the metal at the moment, but we should hopefully have access to that metal very soon. I'm just trying to look around to see if there's any other solutions for us. There's this. Perhaps maybe we could put in some effort to try and reach the metal out there. But I don't know if I actually have enough wood for it. Maybe I can borrow some of the wood from here. And we do have, again, some refugees or survivors here. Yes, we will welcome everyone. So we need the workers. And we still have a little bit of space for people to set up their houses. I may start putting in junk houses at this point as well, because we've got a lot more junk than we have wood at the moment. I think it makes total sense. Let's see. How do we want to do this? Maybe we'll add just a little bit of support there, and yeah, we should be able to add a house right there. And we should be able to add another house right next to it, like right on this corner. Or I could wait for this house to be constructed and then put another one on top of it. That's also an option. Or we could do a house right here. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll just put a house right there. Okay. Advanced buildings will need metal. We got it. Game's just telling us to try and gather 50 metal. So, yeah, let's perhaps try to get ourselves this batch of metal here, but while we're working on that, we should get some of our idle workers working on things that we do have access to. So, more junk, more wood, why not? Okay, how are we gonna do this? I think maybe something like that might work. Yeah, that's a little far, isn't it? I wonder if we can add a bit more support like that, and whether or not that's going to help us reach our destination. Oh, actually, they're not even aligned. That will help if we align them. Oh, we've got a different kind of trader here. Would you like to buy some people? So I guess they're a slave trader of some kind? A wandering trader has come to our settlement. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. We could sell one of our citizens, but we would take a hit on loyalty from every single group. We could hire the slave trader and the slave trader only for one citizen minus 10 influence. But I'm thinking we should do this one. We've got the influence to do it. We gain another couple of citizens and we get loyalty from every group. And I like that. So let's do that. It does mean that we need more housing straight away, which isn't so bad. So we may as well work on the housing right now. So I'm gonna do maybe an additional supporting block there, and then we'll add another junk house there. So yeah, hopefully people can work on that and we'll get everyone housed. But in the meantime, let's try and resolve this issue over here. I think we should be able to reach this, hopefully. No, just a little bit more. What happens if we add... No, that's not gonna work. Does that add a little bit more strength? No. Okay, great. So we managed to bridge the gap there. We do need maybe a staircase or two. There we go. So now we have access to our steel. We do have the workers for it as well, so they'll be allocated into that spot immediately. And yeah, with additional people comes additional need for food and water. Luckily, our food production is looking really good, but that fluctuates depending on the storm cycles, so don't get too comfortable with that. And we do have a problem with the house over here. I think I may not have oriented this correctly, so let's just make sure that the door is actually facing the right way. Nope. There we go. We've got a few more events here, so gaining more influence with a headquarters. So we would have to build a headquarters. I think I'll just take the additional 10 influence here. I don't really think I need to build a headquarters straight away. So I'm gonna choose that option there. And yeah, we have another event here. Beyond basic needs. It seems that life is going back to normal. People have food, water, and shelter. How about building something for our leisure? And yeah, we could either resolve it this way by coming up with some kind of, you know, excuse, or, you know, maybe siding with a particular group. But, yeah, I think really the idea is that you're going to have to commit to one of the groups by building either one of these things, and you'll have some time to do that. Now, I'm not going to make a commitment to a particular group because I think it's better to leave things open, and we've got 3 days and 22 hours to build either one of these things. So we do have again another event here. We found a broken boat. Captain, we found a drifting boat, but it needs some repairs before we can use it. So we need 20 junk, very easy, but we also need 20 metal. Now, if we do manage to fix it, we'll get one more boat. And you know how I feel about boats. I do really like having boats. Although, water is a problem, right? So I think if there's anything we want to do first, it'll probably be collecting enough metal to build the desalinator. So let's focus on that first. We do still have the event in the back pocket there, but we'll have to sort of come back to it when we have the resources. And apparently we still have a couple of people who need houses. I was not expecting that. I thought we had housed everyone already, but that's okay. We can definitely get people housed. We just need to plan for it. So let's do a house over there. And yeah, we can even squeeze another house over here. We will need a bit of a pathway here just to let people sort of traverse to these houses. So, and I might use some junk pathways here because we've got a lot of junk to spare. Speaking of things to spare, we do have an issue with storage. I am being pretty liberal with our wood usage though, so yeah, perhaps maybe it's not a problem just yet, but it could become a problem very soon. A mysterious building. Captain, remember that mysterious building? I think we can now get to the entrance. We should probably send some people to explore it. Who knows what we could find inside? Assign some people to it in order to find out more. We will do that. Okay, so it looks like this is now accessible. And you can see here that there's a door on this side. So we're going to want to try and work our way there somehow. I don't really think that's a big priority compared to some of the other problems that we are facing, such as our water situation. But yeah, a few things have become inaccessible now, whilst the receding waterline has also revealed a few new opportunities, so we need to sort of think about what we want to do here. I'm thinking we might want to get rid of this and instead have a pathway leading out this way, and we can collect water. That's probably the most important thing, just to keep us afloat while we set up the desalinator. So that looks good, and maybe if we just set up a pathway that leads that way, hopefully we can get people across. Yes, okay, there's still not a pathway here. Let's add that. Yeah, okay, now that should make things accessible for us. So let's get a couple of people working on that immediately. And yeah, just watching our metal climb up very slowly. There's some more over here, and that's something that we probably do want to try and focus on getting. And we've got yet another requirement here, so we should be getting more food. Engineers reach food consumption 1, 0 out of 2. So this is an interesting thing here. It's basically the game telling us that you could introduce some rules for the different factions to give them additional water or additional food rations, and that will improve their happiness, obviously, but also give them some additional perks. So let's actually take a quick look at that. So everyone seems to want a little bit of extra food, so we might actually bump everyone up by 1, and that should give them a bit more happiness. And it does actually give them a bit more carry capacity as well if they consume a little bit more food. But we'll do that for everyone, and that way we can start getting people feeling a little happier and therefore generating even more influence for us. And this should eventually disappear once we have at least one of the groups reach, I guess, at least 2 people consuming the right amount of food. Yeah, I mean, we've already got like all these people grabbing all the additional food that they're allowed to eat. This is apparently not accessible. Why is that? Oh, I've removed the access. Bloody hell. Alright. My bad, my bad. We did need... We did need all of that. We do it from here, I think. Yeah, can't remove our metal production just yet, because that is obviously very critical. Okay, so let's continue on. If there's anything I would criticize with the way the game is at the moment, it's the amount of stuff on the left-hand side, the amount of events. Not only is it a little bit, you know, difficult to sort of play the game with too much stuff happening on the HUD, but also I just feel like some of the events are happening a little bit too close together. So that could perhaps be something that the devs work on a little bit. We do have research available, so we've got additional decorations that are now available to us, so we'll look into that in a second. But now we do want to make some decisions on what to do next. So we've got our water research where we want it to be, so we don't really need to worry too much about that. The next problem is likely going to be food production and making sure that we have enough food constantly. So let's get the greenhouse research. Now this is a bit tricky because although it does produce food, it does also consume water. It's very tempting actually to get this immediately, but come to think of it, perhaps maybe getting some fish huts working is a better idea. So let's research some fish huts, and we can hopefully place down some fish huts with obviously additional workforce, and yeah, hopefully that'll do us some good. I see one of our boats is idling. Let's see what we can do to make use of it. So we'll get them working on one of the fishing spots, obviously. Try and get more food in. Alright, we do still have quite a lot of workforce here. I do want to make sure that I have at least 2 people ready to gather even more metal. So let me see here. What should I get these people working on? I think we could do with a little bit of extra wood production, so maybe we can get them coming down this way. We just need to remember to pull them back up when the water rises, so... Right, let's get maybe one of our sailors in there, and the other 2 people that we have, they're going to be coming down this way. Now, we should have a little bit of time before the high tide is going to come in and become a bit of a problem for us, so let's get a ladder coming down. I probably do want to sacrifice a bit of wood here to get our production going pretty early, so let's grab some from there and then let's set things up. Probably still need a little bit more, to be honest. It's fine, I think we can still take one more from here. That should get us down there. Yep, and we'll get a couple of people working on that. Great, what's going on here? Oh, I messed things up. There we go. A ship with passengers is passing by. We get the choice to pick any type of faction to add to the group, basically. And we do get some loyalty from said faction. So looking at our loyalties at the moment, I think it might be a good idea just to get a couple more workers here. We are only at 8 workers as well, so I think that works. Minus 20 influence. That's fine. Alright, how are things going? I think we've got everyone working away efficiently. We have a couple more additional workers now, obviously, so let's just throw them in some random work sites. And we are going to need, yet again, more housing. So I think one in this spot is fine. Things haven't started falling down just yet, which is good. And speaking of housing, maybe this is a decent enough time for us to start looking into some of our new decorations here. So I would recommend being a little careful with some of the decorations that you use, because some of them will require things like junk, and some of them even require water, and obviously I want to avoid using water for the time being, just because our water production is a little bit low. We have an abandoned elevator shaft. While exploring our surroundings, we found an empty elevator shaft. There might be something at the bottom of it. So we get a bit of a choice of the resource that we get from it. I'm thinking we could do with a little bit of extra wood. So yeah, let's get the workers to go down there. Ooh, okay, we are at production capacity here. Which means we will need some extra storage. Let's just get that resolved right away. And we might actually prioritize that. And yeah, you can definitely see here that we've got a lot of things in the red as a result. Ooh, the dock is inaccessible by boat. Okay, so this is a new problem that we now have, thanks to the water having receded so much. We're going to have to move the dock a little bit. So I am thinking we could afford to maybe use this platform here. Yeah, and that still allows the boats to sort of come in and out, so that seems like a decent enough spot to me. Oh no, and you've seen me make the mistake now, but I think we've lost a couple of our sailors there. The sailors were working, and I forgot to unassign them, but hang on, maybe they are still alive, because it does say that we still have a couple of sailors in here. Boat's waiting for a dock. Okay, it's still serving this boat here, I guess. Right, one problem after the other. But things are looking alright. We have a couple of spare engineers, so we could get them working on a couple of other random things here and there. I'm just trying to find a decent work site for them. Maybe we can get them working on food. And yeah, we have now a nice injection of wood. So we should be able to get these pieces back in. And yet again, we do have another event. We're looking for our friend. Maybe you can help us out. You see, we're looking for our friend. Last time we saw him, he was headed this way. Should have sailed past your settlement. He was probably carrying some people with him, if that helps. Really nice place, by the way. Alright. I think this is related to the event where we found those people that were almost dying. Oh, you mean Bob, the human resources guy? I'd say... Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what the repercussions are for some of these options. Yeah, I think, I mean, in truth, we did free some of the slaves, didn't we? He betrayed us and kidnapped some of our people. We're now looking for them, hoping that we're not too late. Your people are happy here. Maybe they should stay. And there you go. Betrayed by Bob. Let's see. We do have still a couple of free hands, so let's get one in there and... I guess we could try and reach this junk pile down here. I don't know if it's going to be accessible from this area. But we do have a little bit of wood to spare, so I could just give it a go and see what happens. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's accessible just yet, so I'll leave the ladders there. But what I do want to try and focus on now is the desalinator, because we are going to have a water problem if we don't. And we've got the metal that we need now, so this is a chunker of a thing, so we do need to be cognizant of the amount of space that we have. And I think maybe this is a decent spot. I do want to keep it relatively close to water storage as well. So let's plop one down there. It will need access for people to get into it though. So I'm gonna add a bit of wood down here just to allow people to get in and out. And yeah, we still have a little bit of space down the side here for more housing, hopefully. So yeah, hopefully we can get that built quickly, and once the water levels come back up, I will reassign people to work in the desalinators to start generating water. This is the time that we're going to want to start thinking about expanding our electricity grid and increasing the amount of power that we generate, because this thing is going to consume a lot of power. And not only that, it's also going to need 3 workers, so you know that's a bit of a workforce hit there. A rumor is spreading. Captain, there's a rumor going around that someone's trying to overthrow you. Let's pay people and find out more. For 128 food, that's rough. I could walk naked outside and nothing would happen to me. Plus 20 influence. It's nothing more than a rumor. Turns out, there was no plot against you. I knew it. Another good chunk of influence there. I do like it. Alright, so let's let time roll through, and I do want to improve the happiness of all of our citizens here, so let's continue working on you know, some of these rooftops, and we also want to start thinking about getting additional decorations using your leader groups. Okay, we have reached level 20 or 20 happiness for the workers apparently, so you've unlocked the full potential of your group leader. Leaders come with different traits that can increase happiness, work speed, and other stats. You can also change your leader to a different one, but that will cost you influence. Influence can also be used to change people from one group to another, as well as gaining some basic resources. So that's very interesting because it means that you can use influence to try and generate some of those resources from the factions themselves. Or you can use influence to, you know, change the, you know, I guess the people of one faction to another. So if you needed, for example, more engineers, than workers, then you can, you know, convince 1 or 2 workers to become engineers. I believe that's the way it works. I haven't actually played around with that too much. So this is kind of the extent of where I've gotten up to playthrough-wise, and things get pretty challenging from here, if I may say so. Perhaps maybe I've been mismanaging my colony all this time. But we'll try and see how far we can survive. We do have the desalinator ready, so we're going to get people in there once the water rises and people lose their workplaces. I do have 1 worker who can probably get in there immediately. But yeah, we're going to want to watch our electricity production here. We are likely going to need a little bit more. So I'm going to want to start planning for that. Oh, and I keep getting interrupted, but I do need to add some more decorations to some of our houses. So we have plenty of junk and we have plenty of wood. So I would have to say that those are the 2 types of decorations that we should be thinking about using. And yeah, we may as well just add a little bit right now. Maybe add a few tires here and there. And what is this? Just hanging around. 8 food and 2 wood. I can't say that I'd be happy sacrificing our food for that. So maybe not. These barrels, this is kind of interesting because I feel like this is something that would go on top of a structure. You could add barrels on top of some of these workplaces. I don't know if it actually adds to the happiness, or maybe it adds happiness to the people who are working there. Why not? We can add that. But yeah, so that gives you a bit of an idea of how that looks and how that works. Maybe add a few more. Looking good. Alright, that's our research done, so let's have another look at what we should do next. We could perhaps have a need to start gathering different types of resources from our boats, so we could try and research some of this, but I think instead of that, we probably want to get into deconstructing of walls. So I'll get that started, and I'll just quickly show you that there are certain thinner walls of some of these structures which you will be able to interact with and eventually deconstruct. Depending on the wall, you may either get wood or you may actually get metal. And you will need to research both of them. So the wooden types we are currently researching should let us sort of break down some of these walls over here and give us access to some of the resources that are inside. Pick your favorites. Increase happiness to 35 for at least 1 social group. Yep, we'll try it. We'll see if we can try and get there. Actually, I've just had a thought here, though, guys. We do have the request to build either one of these things. We might have to redirect our research a little bit. Let's have a look at social once more. And yeah, okay, so we need to research one thing first before getting to some of these ones which have been requested of us. So a bar is going to consume 5 food but generates happiness. The bathhouse is going to consume 10 water, probably not the one for us considering our water situation. Or we've got the shop for engineers, consumes 14 junk and increases happiness. Consumes 2.33 junk per hour. 1.67 water per hour. And 0.83 food. I think it's very obvious that we want to try and go for the shop for engineers to try and complete this quest. So let's research one of these things. I don't think the headquarters is something that I want to do for now. Although the fireplace is a polluter. Yeah, maybe we do the headquarters after all. We can always just research it and skip it. So yeah, let's do that. We will need 20 steel to complete the research though, but we already have 20 steel. So that's good. Oh, production output is full. Yes, I've forgotten, but we do need to move our storage container a little closer, which should help with that blockage. Oh, and we've got an issue now with the junk catcher here. So there's not enough clearance, but I think with the water rising, that clearance should be resolved at least temporarily. And because the water is rising, we do want to just get our workers out of the way. Make sure that they're not going to drown. We do have another pile of steel out this way. So we'll probably want to try and get that at some point. And speaking of steel, we do need to get these people off as well. Obviously that's going to be a little bit dangerous for them. This pile I don't think is going to be a problem. But yeah, since we've got a lot of idle hands now, we should get a couple more people in the desalinator. And that should hopefully help with our water situation. Okay. Once again, as I said, we probably want to start planning for the electricity generation. So let's go ahead and do that. Something is growing on our buildings. Some of our buildings have been infested with some kind of fungus. We should probably do something about it. Some of these options, maybe that's food we can use as fertilizer. Fungus is the same as mushrooms, right? Okay, if we had like 200 wood, we'd be able to replace everything. I think that's probably a good option there. Kill it with fire. We need petrol. Or fuel. Yeah, let's not mess with it. Hopefully that's a decent solution, but I don't know if we're going to pay for it later on. And, you know, with that, I reckon this is a good place for us to call it an episode for now, guys. Hopefully once the desalinator gets up and running fully, we'll start seeing our water levels rise a little bit, and then we can try and address any other problems, try to expand the settlement as well with hopefully even more settlers. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop me a like if you enjoyed it, stay true, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.